This is what you want an original DB5 to drive like. This is what it looks like a DB5 would drive like from the James Bond movies. Except that car is actually a dog. It's a GT car through and through. This drives like a sports car. If you have a DB5 at home and an E36 M3, and for whatever reason you want to destroy both of them, just put them together and make something like this. If you need help, just call Aston Martin. What's up everybody, I'm Justin Westbrook, and today I'm coming to you from Stowe Circuit inside Silverstone Raceway in the UK. I'm standing in front of the Aston Martin Valhalla that I unfortunately don't get to drive today. But what I will get to drive is a 1963 Aston Martin DB5, a carbon fiber bodied DB5, a 1987 Aston Martin V8, and then a 2019 DBS Superleggera. Now, if you're paying attention, you probably already know why I'm driving those four cars, and it's because they all appear in a little movie called No Time to Die. I'm here with Mark Higgins. You might know him as the guy who recently set the record around the Isle of Man in a Subaru, but today we're going to talk to him about his stunt driving work on the James Bond franchise.
Well, it's actually my fourth Bond film now. So we started work back in round about sort of March. We heard we were going to use this amazing little car. And it's always a highlight really to work on a Bond film. And to be driving the Aston Martin brand as well, it was always going to be quite special.
This is why I'm here. I believe this is a 1963 silver birch Aston Martin DB5, as seen in Goldfinger, and I think about 6 or 7 other James Bond movies after that. Now it appears in its biggest action role so far, I believe, in this year's No Time to Die. Aston Martin actually does not have their own James Bond version of this car. They don't have a silver birch DB5 in their own inventory. Anytime they want to use a DB5 as like the model car in the movie, or at events, or something like this where, you know, this guy's poor car has a group of journalists flinging it around a track, they have owners that they go to and they ask to borrow their cars. I can see, you know, it has the wing mirrors on the fenders instead of up here at the door, has the wood steering wheel. This one is not kitted out with gadgets, unfortunately. It smells like gasoline. There's just gasoline reeking through this car. It's a pain in the ass to steer around this track, but it's so engaging because of that. I mean, I'm really, like, my thighs are burning, my shoulders are burning, my forearms are burning, my hands hurt, and I'm having just the best time of my life. What's the training for a project like this? Because, you know, being part of a car chase, there's other elements that you're not in control of. There's other vehicles, there's crowds, you have to be aware of where the camera is. So, like, when do you sort of begin preparation, and then what does that involve?
I think that the main preparation is seeing how the cameras are going to work, what the angles they want. That obviously changes the whole dynamics of a car if you stick 100 kilos of camera on the front or on the side. So we rehearse the best we can the sequences and the sort of areas we're going to be in, how tight it is, how narrow it is. And it's not really till you get to the actual venue that you can get a real feel for what's going on. Right. And guaranteed you'll be doing something and then somebody will change their mind and we'll do it this way. Yeah. So you've got to be ready for the unexpected all the time.
So I'm now in a 2019 Aston Martin DBS Superleggera, which is, without a doubt, the fastest car I'm going to drive today. Has the Aston Martin sort of signature now questionable square steering wheel, which isn't so bad in practice. It's not available in a manual. All the other cars here are manual, so that's kind of unfortunate. But it is so good. What's unique about this car in the movie is that it is not driven by James Bond. This one is driven by the character Naomi, played by Lashana Lynch. I'm happy that they gave, you know, one of the women in the Bond movies a good fucking car. This is not Halle Berry in the new Ford Thunderbird and Die Another Day. Like the other cars I'm scared of because they cost $1 million and they were like actually used in the movie and I can get in a lot of trouble with them. But this one is a different kind of terrifying. It's just like borderline too much car. This is a first-time James Bond director, and Cary Fukunaga, this is also his first time sort of doing this sort of car action stunt sequences.
Yeah.
How much play did you sort of have to encourage certain ideas or?
Well, our stunt coordinator, Lee Morrison, he's working very closely with Carrie, so they discuss what they want to do, and then on the day he runs the show, Lee does, tells us what we need to do, and you know, it's a big, big team effort, the whole thing.
Yeah.
And we just try and do what we're told, when we're told, and hopefully Carrie likes it.
This is the 1987 Aston Martin V8. This car was featured in 1987's The Living Daylights, except of course this one does not have lasers that cut a cop car in half, nor does it have a rocket booster on the back, and nor does it have skis. This car drives actually surprisingly well. It's a little tougher to handle. You have to fight with it a little bit. It has a dog leg transmission, which means first gear is over and down. There's also a little sticker here to remind, oh, fuck. This car has a surprising amount of power. It shifts pretty nice, sounds fantastic, and it feels, I mean, just, woo, incredible. It gets a little squirrely on downshifts, but it's so much fun. This is actually my favorite car here. Oh. But it's just a blast to drive. So in the trailer, there's certain stunts that we see you do. There's that one shot of the DB5 kind of doing a donut and just mowing down people. That wasn't an original DB5. That was one of these cars.
Yeah, I mean, we've used the original car when we can.
Right.
But when we've got the gadgets on, for example, which the gadgets were properly fitted to the cars and working gadgets. So we've used the stunt cars. And also, you know, the new car was designed to go sideways easily, be very repeatable, be very reliable, and just you know, did the job really good. A lot lighter as well, which made it a lot more nimble with a bit more power.
Now I'm in the DB5 stunt car. This is the one car I'm actually sort of scared of that I'm driving today. Though realistically, I should be scared of all of them. What Aston did is they took all their, you know, computer files of the DB5 and they built a carbon shell, and then they took a donor car and they put the Aston DB5 shell on top of the donor car. So I'm actually driving a modern car that just looks and sounds like a DB5. What's funny is that Aston Martin doesn't want to tell us what the running gear of this car actually is from. Because it's not an Aston Martin. But I can tell you that it has an inline 6, a straight 6 engine, and it has a 6-speed manual transmission, and it has about 300 horsepower is what they tell us. 6-speed manual, inline 6, 300 horsepower, and if you look at this shifter, it looks just like a BMW shifter. This is probably an E36 M3 that I'm driving that just looks and sounds like a DB5.
Well, the spec is set really by Aston, and the stunt coordinators, they talk about what they need from a car. So with all the knowledge they had, they came up with something that was pretty good straight away. Little bits of fine-tuning on suspension, because we didn't get the cars till late, and this car was built in a very short amount of time anyway. From being given the green light to build the car and actually turning up on set, we probably had 2 or 3 days with the car before filming. Building something bespoke gives you the possibility to do what you want with the car. We've got a good hydraulic handbrake, the car's nice and light, which makes a big difference. It just makes it agile and usable. To use an original car, they're very, very valuable. There's not many around. We don't want to damage them. We're building this, we could build it to a spec which we knew was going to work for all the scenes. We find out what the car's going to be needing to do prior to going to film. So we try and build the car around it the best we can, and they came up with this stunning little car here. But
what I have right now, I mean, is so special. There's nothing else like this. I've never driven anything else like this, and I'm probably never going to drive anything else like this. Such a different experience to the original DB5. I mean, obviously. This car weighs next to nothing. It's carbon fiber, it's completely empty inside. You can push this car so far. I have an engine that can rev to over 7,000 RPM. Imagine an E36 M3 with essentially no body weight, just running gear weight, and that's about what you have here. So this car that we're in front of has a lot of what looks to be damage down the side.
Yep.
I noticed this front left panel here looks like there's some real damage. What's the harshest beating one of these cars took on set?
There's one scene where it does get a bit of a bit of a knock, which you'll see later on. There's a couple of very, very tight sections in between walls. So that was always going to be part of it, and why we've tried to keep the stickers on for continuity, because we're often swapping cars around. We had 8 cars in total. So we've got to be able to replicate what's just happened on the scene before.
Right.
Hence the stickers, and sometimes you get a bit of real damage, but that's all meant to happen.
Last time I did this, I went off. So, gotta be careful. It's very easy to go off. One issue is, if you get a little bit of tail happy action, the steering wheel is so big. I mean, it's almost as broad as my shoulders wide. It's really hard to catch yourself when you start to lose it. And it just turns in so impeccably. I mean, it's nothing. And I think of all of the cars that I drove today, I think this is the one I want the most. It's the lightest, it's the loudest, it feels like it's the quickest, but it's just so goddamn fun.
The one thing that you've got to be very switched on when it's time to actually say action, because there's a lot of hanging around in between resets. So it's just listening, really, and working with a team of people, because what I may potentially think is a great sideways moment, that's not even what the camera's looking at. It could be looking at the car behind. So it's just getting that knowledge, and you never stop learning. Every time I drive a car, you learn something, good or bad. And the film industry, you know, I've been in it for 12 years now, and every day is a different day, different directors, different team members. So it's interesting, and it keeps you on your toes.
Great. Well, thank you so much, Mark.
Thank you.
It was great to meet you. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. Hope you enjoyed your day.
Thank you. All right, we're gonna try to have some fun now. I mean, I can steer around Stowe with one hand. The steering is so light. Well, maybe 2 hands on that one.